giving from a place of love, leadership, and service. And now all of a sudden people say, wait a minute. You've got my attention. And they start to believe in your intentions, that they are pure. And then once you've built that belief, and the way you build belief in you is service content today, and tomorrow we're going to teach you authenticity content. And once they believe in you, they will believe in what you have to offer. If there's a need, right? They have to have a problem that they're looking for help with in order to be a qualified prospect for your business, in order for somebody to be that needs your leadership. But they have to believe in you first, or they're never going to believe in your product. And the truth of the matter is this: leaders never lead with an offer. I need you to hear that. Leaders never put their products and offers first. They never start a conversation with a link, a product promotion, a new product, and they never start a post with that. Leaders never put themselves first. That's what fear-led achievers do. Now, you didn't know that, but that's the truth. So what does build belief? Let's break service content down for you. So in a very practical way, here's what service content is. Service content is problem-focused. So what I want you to think about is this. What are the problems, the biggest and the most common problems, that you help people with in your business, right? If you were to make a list of the top 5 problems that you see, you could do that very easily, right? Here's the key, and this is where the fear-led achiever in us, it starts to become a little bit of a struggle. A service post under no circumstances ever has any mention whatsoever of a product, a program, or anything that you sell. Because here's the fact of the matter. The second you mention a product or you try to make an offer, you just eroded the trust that you were working so hard to build. Because now people are saying it's not service. They were only doing that because they wanted me to buy their thing. And we've just been conditioned that we always have to offer our thing. And so a service post never has any mention of what you sell. Here's the second thing it does. So if we think about one of those 5 problems that we wrote down, you provide advice, some sort of a tip, emotional support through sharing your own story, a belief or a truth that you have, saying, hey, look, I've walked this road before. I know what it's like. You're speaking to that. And encouragement. And so it's not just facts and figures. There is an emotional component to a service post. And I will tell you this. The advice you give, the tip, is the least valuable part of the service post. And when we're teaching, we teach a specific framework to do this. And, the prompt that we've created for you is built off of it. But here's what I tell people. This is the easiest thing. How many times have you written a post and you provide advice and there's a list of 1 through 5? Here's 5 tips. That's like the worst thing you can do. Because now the entire focus of the post just becomes education. You have to teach less and you have to connect more. And so I would rather you provide one simple piece of advice, because by the way, the advice doesn't matter because they're not going to do anything with it anyway. The advice is just there to say, hey, I understand your needs and I'm willing to offer something. But what really matters in a service post is, did you share part of your story and are you talking specifically to them? It is the emotional component of the post. And so it must speak to their challenges. But here's why it's valuable. It is designed to get the attention of the people who need your help. And so if you're providing service content around specific problems, people are going to start watching and engaging that actually have those problems, which are the best potential prospects for your leadership. And when you're doing that consistently, it's building belief in you. This person is here to do more than just push a product and sell. And so that's what service content is in a very real way. Now, for those of you that have been students of ours before, maybe you've been following me for a while, Service content is what we used to call value content. And, like you, we learn and we grow. The more we teach stuff, the more we figure out how to be able to deliver it in a more effective way. And the big realization for me about 6 months ago was that we were missing the biggest piece of this whole equation, and that's the identity piece. It's what we now call the shift, right? It's who are you being behind the post? Are you showing up from a place of fear as a fear-led achiever, or are you truly leading from love as a leader? And here's what so many of you did, is you went out and you implemented a structure for a post that was a value post, but you still did it as a fear-led achiever wearing the teacher mask, meaning that it was fear-led value and you were only doing it, but you were still emotionally attached to the outcome of every single post. And what wasn't happening because of that in a very practical way, fear-led value, you will never make you part of the post. You'll never vulnerably or authentically share part of your journey. And that's the emotional component that these posts need. And so service content is the evolved form of that. So to be clear, just to make sure everybody received that, service content has to have two things. This is where we create the emotional connection. It's got to have a part of your story, something that you've personally walked through and you now share to help and encourage and inspire someone else. Or it has to speak to your dream customer. So we define the problem by the person. The more specifically you can state the problem, the more valuable the post will be. And we name the person, right? It's not just someone that wants to lose weight. It's not just somebody that's struggling with, their skin. It's an empty nester who is battling, an empty nester female that's battling signs of aging. And it's impacted her confidence. And, she's at a place in her life where she's wanting to get back out into the world and find out what the next chapter looks like for her. But she's kind of hesitating to do that. Look, I'm telling you right now, when you think of, everybody talks about create valuable content. Nobody understands what that is. If I were to look at a service post and I were to break it down into three elements, there's you speaking to a specific person's problems. There's some sort of tip or advice that you offer. And then there might be a part of your own story that you could share as a way to connect. Value, 5% tip, 95% the other two. That's what leadership looks like. And so service content has to have one of these two things. Now, here's the good news. And this is the reason why you're here. Because the third step of the Love-Led Voice Map is activating. And so once we've anchored and we've aimed, now we're going to ask it to actually write a post. Well, we've filled that piece in. We have prompts that are based on our proven content frameworks. And so in your guide, if you look at page number 22, we have created a prompt to help you write your first service post. Now, here's the beautiful part about this. These prompts are proven based off of our frameworks. All you have to do is execute the first two steps, and then you ask it to write the post, and it will do it exactly the way that we teach. You won't even have to think about it. You won't have to second guess it. You won't have to stress out over it. So this is what the prompt looks like. I'm just going to show it to you, and you'll find it in your workbook on page number 22. So all you have to do is you're going to copy and paste this into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will just ask you the questions. Your Love-Led AI coach, that's what we affectionately like to call it, your Love-Led AI coach, which is what we've trained it to be, will ask you to paste your leadership statement. It will ask you what is the problem that you want to help your dream customer with, and then it will ask you what is something simple, an encouragement, a piece of advice, a truth that you want to share with them. And then what outcome do you want to help them create? And so you just answer the questions.